We are finally on the air, live on 90.1 FM WUSB Stony Brook, the longtime home for Seawolves Athletics. It's Stony Brook women's soccer at LaValle Stadium for the first time this season, playing against the Columbia Lions. I'm Zach Wilson, and once again we apologize. We had some technical difficulties, but we are officially ready for action, and we are within the 9th minute of play here between the Stony Brook Seawolves and the Columbia Lions. And right now, the ball is in Stony Brook territory, scoreless between both sides. But for Stony Brook and Columbia, both of them coming off of a tie against their respective cross-state rivals. For the Lions, they're just coming off of a tie that resulted in both teams getting 3 goals against the St. John's Red Storm. And for the Seawolves, playing against their cross-island rival, the LIU Sharks. That was a scoreless draw. But both of these teams looking for their first win of the season. Stony Brook has yet to capture one, fell in their first game of the season to Hofstra Pride 5-1. And we'll see whether or not they have the chance here to do it in front of the home crowd. So right now the ball is Stony Brook is in Columbia territory, and before a chance for a goal, the goalie for the Columbia Lions, number 0, Audrey Byrne, is able to make the catch, and will give it back to the Lions while they're still working inside their own territory. Stony Brook trying to work on their own press. So now the Lions keeping with it. While we have that, Stony Brook and Columbia in a rivalry, 9th all-time meeting between these two teams. Stony Brook dominated early this century, but then Columbia started to take a better domination. Lisa Francis give the ball over to Mari Brendan. Back over to Francis, back in Columbia territory, gets to Sovakova. Sovakova working the defense, back over to Francis. Francis 20 yards away, actually 30 yards away from the goal, from the net. And gets over to Beatty, right near the net, and it goes right into the hands of Byrne. Between Byrne and Nurkin, as usually is in the goalies, Paige Nurkin got the first start of the season for the Lions back on Friday. So now today, you get the freshman in Byrne from San Francisco, California. She gets a good kick down. Still doesn't cross into Stony Brook territory yet. The Lions are still playing around with it. Stony Brook gets it back, though, trying to keep it in Columbia territory. And it's a race for the ball before it goes out of bounds. And it was close for Sovakova, but not close enough. And so Mia Ferrantino will do the inbounds. Throws it and goes right back over to Sovakova. Sovakova playing with it, gets it over to Chelsea DuPont. DuPont getting it back over to Brendan. Nearly lost it, but she gets back possession. Inside she goes over to Sovakova along the right side of the field. She's playing around with it against the double team, and she just pokes it out, and she'll just poke it out of bounds to allow her team to regroup. Again, Ferrantino with the inbounds. And it goes right over to her teammate, Sophia Cavalier. Cavalier will get it back over to Ferrantino, and then working around, back over to Sophia, and she'll get a kick back to her own goalie into Byrne. Last time these two teams met in Columbia, 2017, the Lions were the victors, 2-0. Stony Brook won the first 2 meetings against the Lions back in 2000 and 2001, where both of those wins ended by 1 goal. It was 3-2 in 2000 and 2-1 in 2001. The Lions with possession. Maddie Pila with it. She's getting hammered somewhat by Emma Beatty. If she's still working it, she'll get it back over to Allie Clark. Like there, so it goes right to Daniels, and Daniels is kicking it right towards the net, right to Byrne. Gabby Daniels, responsible for the only goal of the season so far for the Seawolves in that loss to Hofstra, came right in the second half. So now you get Ramirez trying to kick it over to Diaz Silveria, but it goes right back into Stony Brook's possession. You get the freshman Silja Ramvam-Poret was able to kick it right into Columbia territory, and it goes right over to Kayla Lee. Kayla Lee will kick it back over to Byrne. She'll go for another goal kick. She'll kick it to her left, gets it over to her defenseman, Jordan Beverina, who is one of the starters for today's game. Right, trying to get to Daniels, and she's able to fall on it, getting it over to Sovakova. That's a little defense on her part. Don't forget with Daniels, she is midfielder. Back to DuPont. DuPont spotting Beatty to her right, gets it right to her. going over into the middle, kicks it right over to Francis, back to Silvakova. Silvakova couldn't get past Columbia's defense, but it gets right back to Emma, to Carrie Pearson, and she'll just kick it out of bounds. So Stony Brook looking to try and do something better than they did last time they played against, when they lost to Hofstra, which is have more time to play in the opponent's zone. They were responsible for severely outshooting LIU, even though none of those shots eventually resulted in a goal. Neither side had a chance to get anything, and it led to 110 total minutes of play. Back on the inbound, Stony Brook will keep it to Ponce, over to Daniels. Daniels going to her right. She'll find Brendan. Brendan will kick it over to her right between Silvakova and Beatty. Silvakova keeping it, trying to work a good defense against Maddie Pila. Going inside over to Francis. Francis with a kick, and it's a save by Byrne from the right side. Listen, Francis finding the run angle, but the freshman was very keen on being able to spot as well. And that'll keep Stony Brook from scoring first. We enter the 15 minutes of play. So Byrne will go with the goal kick. It goes right over midfield into Stony Brook territory, but back over to Mari Brendan. Brendan, using her feet, hits it back over to Ella LaFrance. And push from behind was Stephane. She'll get it over to Pearson. Pearson to her left for Francis. She'll go back to Pearson. Pearson right near midfield, kicks over to Gabby Daniels. They have had a little bit of a hard step on it, and it allows Columbia to keep it. Maddie Ramirez will get it into Stony Brook territory, but Morgan Elliott will just let that go out of bounds right along the right side of the net. It'll be a goal kick for Stony Brook goalie, Emerson Richmond Burke, junior from Seattle, Washington. She so far has allowed 1.16 goals per game in the first two games of the season, and so far posted 78% save percentage. So on the kick, it stays with Columbia in Stony Brook territory. Kicking right over to the left. And the far hit for it, Sam Gordon, and kicked out of bounds smartly on the defense was Silvakova. Silvakova being able to prevent Gordon from trying any hard moves. Sam Gordon, the freshman from Harriman, Utah. She played for the Utah Soccer Alliance, and she has a lot of star attention from what she did when she was a kid. We'll get back into that later. Meanwhile, Alyssa Francis going over to the punt to get it back into Columbia territory. Going to be seeing a lot of those, that star duo throughout the season. This team wants to get a three-peat in America East women's soccer title. Silvakova keeping in the Columbia territory. She's working against a triple team, trying to cut it inside over to Francis. Had a shot on goal before, but she just kicked it out of bounds along the right side of the net. It'll be a goal kick. For Sam Gordon, she received star attention across the nation when she was 9 years old, when there was a viral video shown of her playing football. In just 3 days, that video received 5 million views. And it's quite something to watch. For her to choose Columbia, all about being able to play the game of ball. Playing ball, of course, means a lot to her. After the goal kick from Byrne, Stony Brook still has possession of it. Working it into Columbia territory was almost Brendan, but intercepted along the way by Pilla. And then almost another interception, and then eventually goes that way. Stony Brook's defense holding on well. DuPont getting it over to Beatty. Beatty right near midfield on the right side, right near the sidelines. Silvakova back over to Beatty, getting a good kick into Columbia territory. Tried to get it to DuPont, but kicked out of bounds by Jordan Beverina. Beverina played 7 games in 2019, had a Capital Conference title in 2017 in her high school back in Falls Church, Virginia. Alyssa Francis receiving the ball off the inbound. Silvakova kicking it right over to, actually that was Brendan kicking it to Silvakova, but it gets right back to Columbia. Cavalier, being hounded by Francis, will kick it over to her right. Spots one of her other teammates, that is Diaz Silveria. And back over right into their own zone. Columbia will work it defensively. Beverina, to her right, she'll find Mercy Ojo. Ojo getting it into midfield. She's working her legs well. Freshman trying to give Columbia enough time in Stony Brook territory and trying to get a left side to Pila, but intercepted by Emma Beatty, preventing a possible shot on goal for the Lions. And Silvakova working more of her feet. She's getting a good look here early on in this game. Silvakova, she'll kick it to her left. Finds Beatty. And then tried to get it over to one of her teammates. That was Katerina von Dragowski. And it looks like one of the Lions made a nasty move that leads to a foul. In 19 minutes of play here in first half at LaValle Stadium. Scoreless between the Seawolves and the Lions. Zach Wilson here giving you Stony Brook Women's Soccer action live on 9-1 FM, WUSB Stony Brook. We will have men's soccer for you tomorrow when the Seawolves host their Long Island rival, the Hofstra Pride, just as the women's soccer did just over a week ago. A long kick going in and trying to get a goal, and when it goes there, that was Von Dragowski. It goes right near the sideline, goes out of bounds, and let it be, as Stony Brook will get the inbounds. Right near the 10-yard line. And that is underneath the goalpost, which is you would see with football. We can't wait to give you the season opener on Thursday. The long inbound, getting it over to Francis, and she falls down trying to get a goal, and she's still down. It almost looked like that could have been a penalty on the goalie. It would have led to a penalty kick, but Francis is still down, and this is not the sight you want to see if you're a Stony Brook fan. It would be a really big blow for the Seals if she can't get up, and now she is sitting up. Better hope that she only got the wind knocked out of her, and that she'll only be out for a little bit if that's the case, and she is able to get back up under her own power self. A quick sigh of relief for the Seawolves. Clock stops with 25:45 to go in the first half. Very close call indeed. Stony Brook and Columbia, they are clashing for the first time since 2017. Having initially dominated the matchup in the early 2000s, the Seawolves have not beaten the Lions since 2002 over a stretch of 6 meetings. In the last matchup between these two teams, a 2-0 defeat at Columbia occurred when program graduates Alyssa Francis and Chelsea DePont were still freshmen. But right now they are looking to get their first win of the season after a loss and a draw to begin this full fall season. Seawolves have led by their third-year head coach Tobias Bischoff after spending numerous years as part of the coaching staff with the Hofstra Pride. While for the Lions, they are coached by 8th-year Tracy Bartholomew. She's a grad from Rochester back in 1994. For Columbia, in their 3 goals against St. John's on Friday, they came from Allie Clark, Nada Ramirez, and Maddie Pila. The Stony Brook, they want to get more offense going after only 1 goal so far in their first 2 games. They would like to make it look much more better here today. So after Francis was knocked out, she's going to take a bit of a breather. So it wasn't a foul, and she doesn't actually come back in just immediately after it took a few seconds before action resumes. Meanwhile, for the goalie Burns, still looking for a good kick, or actually might just throw it. Now she'll settle it down on the turf, and she will get a good kick. It gets right into the head of Pearson, keeping it in Columbia territory. Stony Brook working it right in the middle. It goes over Kova. She couldn't get a good handle on it. It goes right over to Pearson. DuPont getting over to Francis. Couldn't beat Ojo to the ball. It's able to work Columbia's tough defense to keep this, once again, from Stony Brook getting up first. So if Francis had beaten out Ojo, I would have imagined her being able to get her first goal of the season. So Beverina kicks it back over to Burns. Burns sees Ojo to her right. She'll go to her. Near Seawolf is Francis. And use her speed to just kick it right into Stony Brook territory and goes right to one of the Seawolves. It goes right over to Brendan. Brendan spotting Silvakova to her right. She'll kick it right to her along the right side of the field. She's trying to work some good against the defense of Columbia. Allie Clark. Silvakova about to get double teamed, but she's countered by Sam Gordon. Gordon able to get the ball back into her control. Along the right corner, she'll kick it out of bounds. So right, that Emma Beatty will be the one to get to throw the ball in bounds. 21st minute of action, still scoreless between the Seawolves and the Lions. Both these teams still looking for their first win of the season. We'll see which one has a chance. And after another action, it's an out of bounds off of Stony Brook.
Checking in for Columbia, number 22, making the call for number 15, Ian Ferrafino, and number 34, Eva Fletching for number 2, Jordan Beverina.
So like that, we have 3 more substitutions for Stony Brook, for Columbia, actually, trying to work as many combinations as they can. Was pretty close to a win against St. John's back on Friday, and headed after the inbound from Columbia by Gabby Daniels. Silvakova kicking it over to Francis. Francis working in, tried to get it to the right, but it goes out of bounds off of Beverina. Stays with Stony Brook. Seeing some tough action, this is exactly the type of Stony Brook's trying to capitalize off of. Only 1 shot for Stony Brook so far. Same goes for Columbia, and that shot was a shot on goal by Alyssa Francis, and that was very close. Had Byrne not been able to make the save. Beatty on a long inbound, trying to get it over to Daniel, goes over her head, and goes right back over to Beatty. And Beatty trying to kick it, it goes right into the head of Pila, and that's going to almost have it go out of bounds, but Pila able to kick it over to 6, and she has some big room to run, trying to beat out the Seawolves defense, hurrying it up to Pearson, getting it to Richmond, struggling collision, she's able to make the save. It goes right back over to Stony Brook to Beatty. Right at the nick of time, Stony Brook able to keep this game scoreless on their end as well. That was Nada Ramirez that was trying to make well on her speed, and she is unable to capitalize. So the punt, right to Francis. Almost tried to go back to the punt, but it was over-kicked, and it goes right over to the Lions in their own territory, trying to work with some defense. To her left, to the left now, will go back to Gordon, and kicked smartly by Silvakova, trying to find Francis. It wasn't there, but goes right over to Beatty. The punt, actually. The punt kicking it to her left, intercepted by one of the Lions. It fell down, was one of them. And we have tripping, and that was on Columbia's part. Andrzejowski, right along the 20-yard line, which is right near where the America East logo is barely seen. So it'll be a free kick for the Seawolves. Same free kick that gave them their first goal of the season against Hofstra back last Thursday on the 19th. After this game, Stony Brook is going to have themselves quite a hard road trip. 3 straight road games, starting with Providence on Thursday. Andrzejowski getting ready for the free kick. Looking over to her right to Beatty, trying to spread out Columbia's defense, kicking it inside over to another one of the Seawolves, and it gets back over to Beatty, going inside and try to find an angle she could not. And right back over to the Lions, but Beatty trying to keep control. It goes back to Morgan Elliott. Elliott playing defense. She tried to get a kick on it, but it stays with Pila, and then back over to Elliott. She's able to kick it before Pila had a chance to do it on her own. Then the Andrzejowski, she'll have it in Columbia territory. She goes right into the middle to Brendan. Brendan tried to get it to her right to Andrzejowski. Silvakova, actually, she didn't have an angle, but she's able to eventually get the ball. And they kicked out of bounds by Sam Gordon and along the right side of the net. So, for the first time today, we have ourselves a corner kick.
Corner kick.
So here we go in the right corner. We'll see what happens here. Kick going inside, trying to get one. It's still up for grabs, off the head, and out of bounds along the left side. That was off of the Lions.
It's another Stony Brook corner kick.
So from the left corner now, let's see what happens here. Another chance for the Seawolves to try and get a goal. So Kova will do it. Right over to in front of the net. The kick headed by one of the Lions, but stayed in by one of the Seawolves. So Edie will have control of this. And so it's still being controlled midfield. It goes right over to Silvakova, but she couldn't keep it in bounds. Another whistle called, leading more to substitutions.
Number 30, Eva Clapton for number 2, Jordan Beverina. Number 32, Claire Beatty. For number 14.
And number 14, All right then. So, Sam Gordon going for the inbound. Almost a header by Sobakova, just goes over hers. And Daniels kicked it. It'll go back out of bounds right over to the Columbia sideline.
So on the inbound. Here we have it right there. And here we go with another substitution call.
Checking in for Columbia, number 3, Grace Huron. For number 8, Sofia Caballero.
More action going on. Sam Gordon going again with the inbound in Stony Brook territory, headed by Daniels. Sobakova trying to keep it with Stony Brook, still in their own territory. They're being hounded on. Sam Gordon still has it. She gets it back over to her territory so the defense can work it out again. And so number 34 trying to work some action, but it goes right over to almost over to Francis. And she didn't have a foot on it, so it'll stay with the Seawolves. 17 and a half minutes left to go before halftime, still scoreless. Francis fell down, no foul was called. Diaz Silveria able to work with it smartly. Tried to get a long kick over to Richmond Burke, and she goes right with the catch and the save. So Richmond Burke still going to be looking for an angle to try and kick it. Going sky high, almost out of bounds. Sobakova trying to field it, and she'll just let the header go out of bounds. Once again, the freshman Gordon. And Morgan Elliott trying to get a little on it, but Diaz Silveria says no. Ramirez, actually. So now you have Ava Slatchin on defense, trying to kick into Stony Brook territory, which she will, but Daniel's able to get it over to Brendan, and then swooped in for the Lions. They're able to get it back. Now back to Slatchin. She'll just kick it back over to her own goalie and Byrne. Both teams having some good saves so far. Stony Brook has one. Same goes for the Lions. Ojo, right to Sobakova. I don't know if she noticed that. Maybe one of her teammates fell down. Sobakova trying to work it smartly, but Sam Gordon able to work on her own defense. And now you have Claire Pinney. Pinney getting kicked into Stony Brook territory, but then kicked out of bounds by Gabby Daniels. The Lions almost caught the Seawolves sleeping just a little while ago, but they were fortunate to be able to work enough defense to try and keep this game scoreless. And we have a whistle, foul initiated by the Lions. It was a little bit of a slouch between Gabby Daniels and Sam Gordon, but it was Gordon that was responsible for the contact. So, Carrie Pearson will work with a free kick. She'll work hard enough to get right into Columbia territory. Stony Brook still trying to work some offense, haven't generated enough yet so far today. They did have a shot on goal thanks to Alyssa Francis. Sobakova tried to head, just too high for her. And it goes right over to the Lions. Allie Clark. And double teamed was one of the Lions, but it still gets over to Ramirez, who almost had the chance to get the goal early before. But one of the Seawolves does kick it right over to Richmond Burke, who kicks it hard, trying to get it to midfield, right to Sobakova. But Sobakova had it off of her stomach, pretty much saying it goes out of bounds off of her chest,
now
actually.
checking in for the Seawolves, number 21, Renee Ward. For number 3, Murray Brendan.
So we saw some of Renee Ward in the game against Hofstra as well, back on the previous Thursday. For Renee Ward, she played 18 games back in 2019 for the Seawolves. And Elliott, trying to get a ball, was forced to fall down by Spencer Robbins. So that will be free kick for the Seawolves. They'll have possession off another penalty. Stony Brook has yet to do enough substitutions as Columbia has. Lions getting a little more shifty today. After the free kick, it's in Columbia territory. And then another foul going against the Lions on Diaz Silveria, initiating contact with Von Porat. 14 minutes left before halftime. Still scoreless between the Seawolves and the Lions here at Kenneth P. LaValle Stadium. Zach Wilson on the call, giving you Stony Brook women's soccer action live on 90.1 FM, WUSB Stony Brook. Free kick right in front of the net. It goes right near Renee Ward, but then stayed right in front of it. Almost Sobakova had a chance, but it goes right back over to the Lions. They might try and catch Stony Brook sleeping here. Ramirez getting over to Robbins, and not enough speed, and she'll have to settle it back into their own territory. Stony Brook able to work well, trying to buy as much time as they can. Sia Ojo sees Gordon to her left. She'll keep it herself still, trying to get into Stony Brook territory. It goes right back over to the Seawolves. Beatty delaying over to Sovakova. Back over to Francis. See Francis tries to use her speed against Ojo. She'll just get it back over to Beatty. Now to DuPont. DuPont kicking it far to her left for Ward. Ward getting into her left sees Von Port. And she'll kick it over to her left for Beatty. Beatty getting it back to Ward. Ward along the left side of the field in Stony Brook territory to Gabby Daniels. Daniels in the middle to Ward. Ward trying to get it over to Francis. Francis getting it over to DuPont. Kicking it far to the right to Sovakova. Sovakova trying to work against Columbia's defense. Inside over to Francis. Francis with it. She couldn't get a good angle for a shot on goal. And it goes along the right side. And right off the foot of Beatty goes right near Morgan Elliott and right to Carrie Pearson. Ball still in Columbia territory. Beatty with it along the right side. About to get double teamed. She gets a good cut inside over to Sovakova and backwards over to DuPont. DuPont to her left for Sovakova, trying to get into the middle. Gets it over to Von Pollitt. Going inside over to Francis, trying to get ahead. She had a kick on it, but contact, no foul, and went out of bounds. Almost another opportunity for Alyssa Francis to try and get a goal.
Now checking in for
She has
Columbia,
been
number
relentless,
25,
trying to work as hard as she can
number
whenever
20,
she has the ball right in front of the net. But she still needs to work on a clear angle to try and get it past Audrey Byrne, because she still has yet to work on that. That's why this game's still scoreless. So goal kick and headed smartly by one of the Seawolves. That was Elliott. And then you get Sovakova trying to work with it. It's actually Von Dragulski along the right side. About to get double teamed and forced to go off of her. Actually, it's because of Columbia that they did that. And one of them ain't happy. That's Kayla Lee. You didn't see that. So black and white. So Von Dragulski looks like she'll be working with a free kick, actually. The ref's giving her permission to do that. Kicking her right in front of the net. Over to Francis, and it goes off one of the Lions. That was Ojo. And it goes right over to San Gordon along the right side again. Renee Ward trying to swoop in, but not enough. And it goes right back over to her. Renee Ward trying to work on it. She couldn't get a good handle with her feet. It goes back to Gordon. Going over off of Von Dragulski, keeping it well in Columbia territory. Gets it over to Sovakova. She couldn't get a handle on it. The refs are saying that it was off of Ojo. It'll be a corner kick. It'll be from the right corner. Stony Brook starting to get a little edgy here. Has some chance to make some offensive plays. They had these opportunities against LIU back on Thursday. Just couldn't capitalize on a goal. So we'll see if Aneta Sovakova can do it from the right corner. Kicking right into the front of the net. Can somebody head it? It's Gabby Daniels, but it's off the left side of the net. Wide left. Close to her second collegiate goal after her first one came against Hofstra back on Thursday the 19th. Another opportunity, but that would just go down as a shot. So Audrey Byrne will go with the goal kick. Waiting for her teammates to get settled. Play defense then offense. Gets a good kick, but it's intercepted quickly by one of the Seawolves. Trying to get over to Francis. It was a little bit of a header. Then it goes right over to Ojo. And then Byrne trying to kick it. And then contact. They're calling it off of Francis. So Columbia will have it. Almost another opportunity for Stony Brook. And they've been getting these dime a dozens lately. But they still need to find a way to get it past the goalie. And that has not been easy. They already had a game that ended in a tie this season. They want this one to be an actual win. So the punt. Try to get to Sovakova, but it goes over her, right over to Manny McCaw. Manny McCaw will kick it back over to Byrne. Byrne will settle it. Sees Ojo to her left. To her left is Gordon. Renee Ward trying to swoop in, but is unable to do so. And then you get one of the Lions and contact. And then you get a whistle now. This time it is a foul against one of the Seawolves. That was Claire Pinney that was able to initiate it. See many of these freshmen for the Lions getting some good action in. So imagine what's going to be like in the next 2 years for this Columbia team if they can get an Ivy League title. Has not gotten one in a very long time. It'll be a free kick for Marcia Ojo. Ojo kicking into Stony Brook territory. It goes one off the head of Robbins, but it goes right back to the Seawolves, still in their own territory, trying to get it out of there. And the whistle, contact initiated by Columbia, back to the Seawolves. 8:24 left to go. So Emma Beatty will do her free kick into Columbia territory. Goes right over to Sam Gordon, then right over to Emma Beatty. Tried to find Renee Ward to her left. She was not settled well. Goes back over to the Lions. Spencer Robbins able to get it over to Anna Prusik. And to her right, she finds McCall. McCall trying to get it inward, but Gabby Daniels heads it away from the net. The punt going up backwards. Tried to find one of the teammates. Francis was the closest, but it goes right back into Columbia territory where Marcia Ojo will field it. Now she'll use her speed to try and kick it well, but then right in here, Carrie Pearson is still with Columbia, actually. And goes right back on pallet. She's trying to get a kick. No good angle. No line was there to try and get a shot on goal. Fielded away by Beatty. Sobakova tried to swoop in, then headed away by Daniels. Renee Ward, she'll kick it out of bounds. Good defense by Stony Brook to try and prevent Columbia from getting any good looks. Even they had a chance for
Checking in for the Seawolves,
quick
number
goal.
10, Tatum Kauka. For number 11, Alyssa Francis. And checking in for Columbia, number 23, Riley Hanna. For number 15, Mia Ferrin. For number 22, Manny McCall.
More substitutions coming in. 7:10 left to go in the first half. Still scoreless between Columbia and Stony
Checking
Brook.
in for the Seawolves, number 4, Rachel Peters. For number 15, Emma Beatty.
We have 3 shots so far from the Seawolves today, and that is 2 of them coming from Francis and the 1 coming from Gabby Daniels. Well, you get 2 total shots from Maddie Pila and Nada Ramirez. Ramirez, as I said before, was close to a shot on goal, but Richmond Burke able to make that big save. Ball still in Stony Brook territory. You got Heron with it, right in the middle of the field. She gets over to her right for Prusik. Trying to get a quick insight and goes right over to Richmond Burke. Tried to be a shot on goal, I believe, but it was far away. Hard to tell whether or not that will be counted. But Richmond Burke's getting well by being able to make some diving plays in order to keep this game scoreless. Still a chance for Stony Brook to try and work on something. Kicker goes off the head of one of the Seawolves, close to Columbia territory, and now it will be. Kat Jordan gets over to Renee Ward. Ward spots Von Dragolski to her right. She'll get working further into Columbia territory. Draws over to her left, right to one of the Lions. And now it will be Robbins with it. Next to Kayla Lee. Kayla Lee to her right. Working against Sovakova. Sovakova has been getting pretty aggressive today. Right near Kat Jordan for the Lions. DuPont right over to Prusik. Prusik kicking it right over near Spencer Robbins. Goes off of Carrie Pearson out of bounds. Both of these teams seem to have had their fair shake so far. You can imagine just how pretty heated up this rivalry is. Columbia does lead the all-time series 4-2-2. You'll definitely get used to that when soccer games happen, when there are ties, wins, or losses. One of these teams wants something more than a tie after their last game a few days ago. Pondratowski nearly had a chance to kick it away right near Renee Ward, but it stays with Sam Gordon. Sam Gordon goes right over to Von Pollitt, headed by her. Kicked away by Beatty. Goes right to Renee Ward. Ward to her left. Now it's still controlled by the Lions. Number 25 tries to get a kick, but it goes just right over to Richmond Burke. Kayla Lee couldn't get a good angle. Was hoping that one of her Lions teammates would be there to try and make a play too, but nothing has been getting past Richmond Burke today. She has made 2 saves, while Audrey Byrne has made 1. On the kick off the head of one of the Lions, still in Stony Brook territory, chasing it, Rachel Peters, along with Claire Pinney from the left side. She tried to get a kick over, gets over to number 6, but it was a little left, not much anticipated for her as she thought, and Anias Prusik almost had a chance, but last second recognition cost her a shot on goal very dearly, and fortunate enough for Richmond Burke. So another substitution. Sovakova will check out. 4 minutes left to go. Goal kick upcoming for Emerson Richmond Burke. Nia Prusik, she just missed it high right. Not as alert as she wanted to be on that. So the goal kick right near Stony Brook territory, still headed by the Lions, still in Stony Brook territory, but it goes off of her, so it goes back over on the inbound for Stony Brook. Von Pollitt taking her time. She'll now inbound it. Goes off the head of Prusek. You have a whistle and a foul on Columbia. Stony Brook has possession of the ball still, seeing that they have a chance to get a goal right before halftime. Fast-moving game. Not too much action so far. Of course, there has been few opportunities on both sides. 2 shots on goal for the Lions, just 1 for Stony Brook. Rachel Pierce close to it, stays back with the Lions. Trying to catch Stony Brook napping, may not be able to do that. Spencer Robbins will get severely double teamed. Trying to kick over to Claire Pinney, trying to beat out Morgan Elliott. Tries to get the kick, but can't get past Richmond Burke. He was just too far away to try and get past her quickly enough. Of course, for Pinney, she had no choice. Had to try and take the shot or just have more time working it in Stony Brook territory, which of course she tried to do. The only problem was there may not have been any Lions teammates right near her. Nearly headed by Renee Ward, but goes out of bounds off of Grace Herron in Columbia territory, back over to Stony Brook. Lisa Francis still on the sidelines. We'll see if she comes back in anytime soon, because she has been helping Stony Brook keep it in Columbia territory for a little while longer and trying to get some shots off of it too. Kat Jordan goes out of bounds off of her. It's very close between her and Marcia Ojo. So on the inbound from Sam Gordon, she's waiting for it still. And she will, but it goes right over to Daniels. It goes off of her, out of bounds. Gordon does it again, take 2. Right near her own sideline, tries it again, goes off the head of Rachel Peters. Kat Jordan with it. She was hounded by Sam Gordon and goes right over to Prusek. But it goes right over to Von Pollitt. Good defense from her to keep it away from one of the Lions who nearly had a breakaway. And you get Kayla Lee, but then it goes right to Von Dragulski. She'll just kick it back over to Richmond Burke, which is a minute and a half to go before halftime. Renee Ward getting a good header right into Columbia territory, but then off of the one of the Lions. Goes to Ojo. And it goes right to Von Dragulski. We'll see if they have a chance to catch Columbia napping. May not be able to get enough time. Goes right to DuPont. Tried to find Jordan. She wasn't where she wanted her to be. It goes right to Sam Gordon. Gordon trying to work in from the left side. Make it a big kick. And we have a whistle. And it goes right to Columbia. Wasn't a penalty, just an out of bounds play.
1 minute remains in the first half.
60 seconds left now before halftime. This game's still scoreless. A tie between these two squads. Robbins trying to get it off against Ward. He'll just kick it back over to Byrne. Byrne to her left for Ojo. Ojo almost had a chance by Kat Jordan to try and get there. Goes right to Sam Gordon. And initiated contact with Von Dragulski, forcing Gordon to fall down. That was legal. Columbia would have had their heads up high. Close chance for Stony Brook to get another goal. But just 25 seconds left in this game. Maybe going to halftime with scoreless. So with that, we got Morgan Elliott in Stony Brook territory, kicking it away, trying to milk out the rest of the clock to at least make this a scoreless game so far. Kat Jordan, it'll go right over to Ojo. Ojo right near the side in timeline. It goes right over to Gordon, kicked away by Von Dragulski, out of bounds, and that will do it for half number 1. So, some good competition between the Seawolves and the Lions so far, but no goal yet for either side. Emerson Richmond Burke getting 2 saves. Audrey Byrne getting 1. Alyssa Francis has seemed to have gotten a lot more time so far. Alyssa Fran with her 2 shots. One of them, a shot on goal, very close to being a goal. Very hope for her and Chelsea DuPont to try and make more plays. We are ready for the second half of women's soccer action. And now, 5 seconds away from halftime, we are back at LaValle Stadium for the second half between the Stony Brook and Columbia women's soccer team. Zach Wilson here giving you Stony Brook women's soccer action live on 9.1 FM, WSB Stony Brook, the longtime home for Seawolves Athletics. And right now, as we enter half number 2, both of these teams are still scoreless against each other. Neither team has yet to get a goal. And really, what we have seen so far here is a game that has shown a lot of defense. We have a shot on goal with 3 shots for Stony Brook and 5 shots for Columbia. 3 of them are shots on goal. But it's really shown that Emerson Richmond Burke has been able to step up to the challenge today, as she did back on Thursday against LIU. Because of her, they were able to keep LIU from getting a win against the Seawolves, and that is what led to overtime, 20 minutes of it, and then eventually more, as it just went to a tie. So we'll see whether or not the second half pans out any differently if the Seawolves or the Lions can try and break this scoring drought of any kind. So far, 45 minutes of it, nothing has come, even though there has been incredibly close opportunities for both sides. But can any of these teams change it? Let's find out. Second half begins. Columbia starts off with the ball. Getting into Stony Brook territory, it goes right over to one of the Seawolves. Actually stays with Columbia, and that was Ramirez that was able to keep control of it. She'll just back it up into her own territory to Ojo. Ojo along the left side. She'll get now into Stony Brook territory, trying to make it clear it. She tries to get inside. It goes over to 21. She tried to get a kick, but it was off of one of the Seawolves. Actually, it was off of one of the Lions. That was Diaz Silveria. It didn't turn out to be that way. And so it will be a goal kick for Richmond Burke. So Stony Brook able to get jiggy with defense in the first few minutes, in the first 45 seconds, actually, of the second half. Emerson Richmond Burke will kick it. Goes off the head of one of the Lions. Then right over to Mari Brendan. Goes off of Gabby Daniels. Back over to Brendan. And we have a whistle, foul called on Ojo. She initiated contact with Brendan. And so Stony Brook will get possession. Stony Brook is trying to do better in these last two games than they did against Hofstra. One of the most crucial elements to that is have more time to get the ball in the opponent's zone. Hofstra was the one that had been dominating them all night long in that game. 10 shots to 1. Stony Brook's only shot was a shot on goal, and that led to a goal. And Alyssa Francis will try to go for the kick, and it is good! A minute and a half into the second half, Alyssa Francis with her first goal of the season, and the Seawolves strike first. They are up 1-0, their first lead all 2021 of this fall. Alyssa Francis able to connect quickly when the ball just went right to her. Audrey Byrne tried to go quick as well, trying to catch the ball, but just couldn't beat Francis to it. Francis able to use her right foot just quickly enough, and is able to finally give Stony Brook that long-awaited lead that they have been waiting in these first 3 games of the season. Just a fantastic play from the grad, and he would not expect anything less from a player like her. And so after that goal, it's Columbia that will once again have possession. One of the Lions fell down, but no foul was called. Daniels trying to get it away from Clark. It's still with Columbia, but then goes off of one of the Lions out of bounds. Alyssa Francis, after she was a little shaken up midway through the first half, doesn't seem like she was shaken up there. And so it's another out of bounds, this time intentionally by Osho, as Stony Brook will keep it deep in Columbia territory. Just in the 3rd minute of action here in the second half, already Stony Brook has found the answer that they were looking for. And we'll see if they have the opportunity in these next 42 minutes to try and hold on to that lead and get their first win of the season. A long haul right near the net goes off to one of the Lions, but then right to Daniels, and she'll kick it wide high, and it's right through the uprights. But not quite the points that she was looking for. Then you get all these soccer players, they're really great kickers. Meanwhile, Audrey Byrne tried to get a little bit of a goal kick down, but goes off back to one of the Seawolves. To the left goes to Von Dragalski. It goes right over to Diaz Silveria, getting into Stony Brook territory, but swept in was Von Polt. It goes right to Daniels, over to Sovakova. She was nearly pushed by Prusek. But Sovakova sticking with it. She gets into Columbia territory along the right side. She keeps it inbounds to keep it with Stony Brook. It kicked right near the goal. Net is right near Francis, and it goes right over to Audrey Byrne, and this time she's able to keep it away from Francis. Some little fun action is starting to get into now. In the 4th minute of action here in the second half, it's Stony Brook 1, Columbia 0. And a botched goal kick by Byrne goes back to Von Dragalski. It stays with her along the left side. Nearly went out of bounds, but she kept it, and it goes off of one of the Lions that looked like Sam Gordon. It may have went off the left corner, and we may have ourselves a corner kick now. It looks like that's what it's going to be, as Von Pollitt will take it from there. Either that or it'll be an inbound right near the left corner. The refs are halting the play here because it was pretty close. It may have went out of bounds at the left corner. If it was on the right side of it, it's a corner kick. If it was on the left side, it's just a long inbound. It looks like one of the coaching staff for the Lions is coming out. You can see how. It's Ania Prusek, who is down on one knee right now. She appears to be banged up, and that will have Grace Herron check in for her. Still in the 4th minute of action here in the second half at LaValle Stadium. Stony Brook 1, Columbia nothing off the Alyssa Francis goal. Just right in the second minute of action in the second half. So Prusek is able to walk off on her own power. Nia Prusek, the freshman from Glen Ridge, played club soccer with Players Development Academy, helped them with 3 straight Group 1 sectional titles with Glen Ridge High School, of course. From 2018 to 2020, she was first team All-SEC. And no, it's not SEC of college, of course. Even high school has some conferences that could be called SEC. Well, if anything, could have something to do with New Jersey. So on the left, so it is on the left side of the corner. So it is going to be just a long inbound. It goes right to the Lions. Daniels tried to swoop in and does allow Von Pollitt to get there, and headed by Mari Brendan right to Francis, trying to kick it, but she loses possession. It goes over to one of the Lions, right near it there actually. Emma Beatty with it, tried to get a header, but swooped in was one of the Lions again. And a little headbutt action all over the place. Sophia Cavalier with it. She gives it right back to Stony Brook. Actually, she gets it back now. It goes back to Morgan Elliott. Elliott, she's playing defense. Gets it back into Columbia territory. Now Mari Brendan along the right side of the field. Getting a kicker right near Alyssa Francis, but goes right to Ojo. Ojo kicking it away. Back to Cavalier. Cavalier right near Brendan. She tried to swoop in, but she couldn't. She gets a kick back over to one of her teammates. That was McCaw. McCaw trying to get it over to Diaz Silveria, but swept in was Von Pollitt. It goes over to Brendan. Brendan moving to the right side, trying to kick it to the middle. She does find one of the Seawolves, but then it kicks away at the last second. But then back over to Beatty. Beatty almost had it deflected, but she keeps it. Elliott getting a kicker right near the left side, right to Von Dragulski, but she couldn't get an angle for a shot on goal, but she does still have possession along the left side. Far left near the left corner. 6 minutes gone by here, and it goes off of one of the Lions, out of bounds, off the left side of the net. So it's another corner kick for Stony Brook. 6 minutes gone by in the second half. Stony Brook 1, Columbia nothing still. Zach Wilson giving you Stony Brook women's soccer action live from Kenneth P. LaValle Stadium on 90.1 FM, WSB Stony Brook, the longtime home for Seawolves athletics. Stony Brook trying to chase for their first win of the season. Same going for Columbia after both teams are coming off of a tie against their respective cross-state foes. On the left side, it won't be a long one to the net. Emma Beatty getting it from Brendan, who tried that corner kick and trying to be swooping in, but a Columbia Lions defense hard to penetrate. Going right over to Morgan Elliott. She's keeping it in the Lions zone. And then kicked out of bounds by Diaz Silveria. Stays with Stony Brook. We have another substitution horn called. It'll be the Lions making the change. Jordan Beverina looking to check in, waiting to see who she'll fill in for. It won't be that way yet. Von Pollitt will go for the inbound. Off of one of the Seawolves. She'll try to chase for it again. She nearly lost her control, but she keeps possession of it. She kicks over to her left, finding Dragulski. It goes over to Brendan. In the open is Francis, but she couldn't get it where she wanted to go. Gabby Daniels trying to swoop in. The header goes eventually to the Lions. Morgan Elliott forcing it off of Ramirez right in here, Columbia, right inside Columbia territory still. Columbia now working with it as they get it into Stony Brook territory. And along the left side, it nearly goes out of bounds. Looks like trying to shot on goal here, and it goes right to Richmond Burke from the left side. That was Sophia Cavalier who tried it, but she couldn't get past Richmond Burke either. So, and ever since Richmond Burke making some strong plays so far here today, especially in the first half, has been able to help Stony Brook to get the lead that they want. And the foul called on her and off of Alyssa Francis. Stony Brook will have it in Columbia territory. Well, it did seem like this game was a little bit of a slow-moving game at first, but then Alyssa Francis started to make this thing look a lot more interesting by being able to capitalize on the goal just a minute and a half into half number 2. Emma Beattie, she'll get herself ready. It'll be actually the punt. Or actually, no, Carrie Pearson. Free kick right to the net near Francis, but off of one of the Lions. It's being going out of bounds right near Gabby Daniels, and it's chased by one of the Lions again. That was Clark that's able to get it. Right in Stony Brook territory, Morgan Elliott now has the ball. And forced off. That is gotta be a penalty. That's gotta be a foul. And it looks like it will be. Morgan Elliott being forced to fall down by one of the Lions. It was. Not a friendly vibe if you want to put it on that. You imagine this being quite a rivalry. Columbia taking the last few games against the Seawolves. Seawolves trying to break that little drought. On the long free kick, goes right to Gabby Daniels. Then goes right over to McCaw. Vondrogolski almost had a chance to get there. And now it goes right over to one of the Lions. Trying to push it inside, but there was no chance for Clark. One of the Seawolves able to keep it away from her before she had a chance for a shot on goal. Near Mari Brendan. Stays with the Lions still. McCaw has it. Actually, that's Diaz Silveria on the right side. Getting it over to McCaw now. McCaw on the right side. But Vondrogolski swooping in, not making it easy for her to try and get a shot. And it goes out of bounds and off of Vondrogolski. So it'll be the first time today it looks like that Columbia will have themselves a corner kick. And it will be their first corner kick of the game. See if they have a chance to try and use this to try and even the score. Just 9 minutes gone by here in half number 2. Maddie Pila, who had one of the 3 goals for Columbia against St. John's on Friday, will do this. Goes right into the front of the net. It goes off the head of one of the Seawolves and go away from the left side. Diaz Silveria, right near Vondrogolski. Going over to the right side. Pila trying to get something open here, but Seawolves able to recapitalize quickly. And it looks like we have another whistle called. This may be offsides. It seemed like Columbia nearly had a chance, but the fact that there were that many players open to try and get a shot on goal, you probably understand why that was probably called offsides. So the goal kick by Richmond Burke, almost off the head of Vondrogolski. And Gabby Daniels chasing it against Cavalier. Goes right to the right side to Sam Gordon and Aneta Solikova. Solikova able to field it well, keeping it in Columbia territory, forcing the Lions to try and work with it again defensively in their own territory. Stony Brook trying to stay strong defensively as they did back on Thursday against LIU. Daniels fell down, so Columbia will try something quickly here. Diaz Silveria trying to work him from the right side, trying to get a kick wide right. Von Pollard able to stop it at the last second, leading to another Columbia corner kick. Probably the best thing you want right there. Seeing what Silja Ram Von Poor is capable of, freshman defense player from Norway. So it won't be a hard corner kick. This time it will be a long kick. Going over to one of the Lions. She'll try and work the kick, but it's far right and out of bounds. Eventually it will go off the boundary line, so Richmond Burke will get that goal kick. Columbia trying to work with a little more time as well in Stony Brook territory. But Seawolves defense doing as much as they can, trying to hope that their playmakers on defense like Morgan Elliott can step up. Richmond Burke doing a goal kick over to the left, goes right over to Vondrogolski, then right over to Sophia Cavalier. Columbia back with possession. And it goes into Stony Brook territory, almost fielded by one of the Seawolves. Maddie Pila trying to work it against Emma Beattie. She will. Beattie fell down, and there's a foul. Actually, no, there is no foul. Almost looked like for a second that there was, judging by the way Columbia is starting to reset again. And we have a little slip. No foul is called, but the punt able to get a good field on that ball. And so a little force. Slatchin to try to go back over to Byrne. Byrne got burned by Francis early in the second half. It's not probably what she wants her last name to be known as. Not the one to be burned, but the one to burn. Columbia back in Stony Brook territory with the ball. Trying to get a good kick. Going over to number 20. Trying to get a kick at the last second. She cannot. Richmond Burke able to keep it away from her. Able to get her hands on it off of Valley Clark. It'll go out of bounds. Another Columbia corner kick. It seems that the Lions are starting to have a little more action here by being able to get more time in Stony Brook territory. And that could probably start to put a little pressure on the Seawolves defense. Stony Brook wants to play a little more offense here. Exactly how they got that goal in the second half. And off the head of one of the Lions, didn't go to where she wanted it to go. Nearly on the left side of the field now in Stony Brook territory. Sam Gordon trying to go with a kick, but not enough speed. Not able to fool Richmond Burke again. She's been working well with making catches and making saves so far in this game. Still has 3. In the 13 minutes of this game, it's Stony Brook 1, Columbia nothing. Alyssa Francis responsible for the only goal of the game on either side so far. Morgan Elliott trying to play some defense, and it goes right back over to Columbia. On the far left side, the Lions with it. It's Pilo trying to move to the left side, tried to get to one of her teammates, but Bondragalski eyeing it well. She'll try and kick it into Columbia territory, but didn't get a clean enough kick, but it does eventually go to one of the Seawolves. Francis kicking it to her right. It goes right over to Beatty. Off of one of the foots of the Lions, it goes back over to them. Sam Gordon had it. Gordon back to Slatchin. Slatchin along the left side, trying to kick it into Stony Brook territory. And the Lions, one of them slipped, and there was contact forced by one of the Seawolves. It looked like that was Morgan Elliott. And it was. So it'll be a free kick for Columbia from just a few yards away from the midfield. It's 5 yards away from it. Slatchin will work on a long kick, see if she can try and get it good enough. But a wall showing between the Lions and the Seawolves. Goes far enough. It goes off the head of one of the Lions probably, and then kicked out of the way by one of the Seawolves. Elliott along the left side. She's kicking it right near Sovakova. Stays with Columbia. Gabby Daniels almost got there. And we have a whistle, another foul on Columbia. Looks like because of the weather today, we're not really seeing any needed hydration breaks. It's cloudy, but in the 70s. The men's soccer team will probably hope for this as well tomorrow when they host the Hofstra Pride. That rivalry between the Seawolves and the Pride, much more closer than you think in women's soccer. Seawolves wanted to call for a penalty, but there was none given as Columbia has it in Stony Brook territory. DuPont able to steal it away from Cavalier after she nearly tried a good spin move on DuPont, but DuPont able to rectify it just immediately. Bondragalski tried to kick it to DuPont, but it goes bounds off of one of the Lions. And we have another substitution.
Number 21, Rodney Ward. For number 3, Mari Brendan. And checking in for Columbia, number 6, Ania Prusak. For number 26, Nata Ramirez.
So just 15 minutes have gone by here in the second half. Stony Brook still maintaining their 1-0 lead, trying to extend upon it as the inbound goes right to Alyssa Francis. She'll just kick it right along the bounce to the right side of the net for another goal kick. You see how Stony Brook is trying to play those actions, but what they need to work on more is being able to get those headers more often. Byrne will just give it over to Ojo. Ojo to her left for Slatchin. Slatchin along the left side of the field, trying to get it right to midfield. About to get double teamed. She'll find one of her Lions teammates wide open. She'll go over to the right, trying to get it over to the Silveria, but she missed her. And then Richmond Burke will just field it, kicking it out of bounds. She may have tried to find Sovakova, but it's probably better to do that than have McCall try and get a quick chance to get a goal off of her. It'll have both teams resettle right near where the ball is. McCall looking for the inbound, looking for the throw. Getting right near Ojo. Actually, it's Prusek. Prusek right in the middle. Nobody there but the Seawolves. And it'll go out of bounds right near the left corner. Both teams now going along the left side, right near there, especially right near midfield as well. In the 17th minute of the second half, Stony Brook still maintaining their 1-0 lead. Ball going inbounds right near Renee Ward. Right now goes to the punt, and a foul called against Stony Brook. Contact looked like it was initiated by one of the Seawolves again. Trying to get a little more action on offense. It hasn't seen much of being able to play in Columbia territory as they had during the first half and that early part of the second half that got that scoring drought broken. Prusek, long kick off the head of one of the Lions and goes out of bounds along the right side. Still not getting the angle that they want. Hasn't gotten anything past Richmond Burke. She's been responsible for 4 saves so far today. After giving up 2 goals in the first half against Hofstra, it's been nothing but a fortress for her ever since. And the long goal kick is in Columbia territory. McCall trying to field it. She'll have to get over back to Byrne. All part of Stony Brook trying to work a new rhythm that can probably get them more playing time once again in Columbia territory. Francis near Ojo tried to get a handle on it, but couldn't get there. It goes right over back to Von Holt. Right to Renee Ward, heading it right near Francis. And a late whistle called against Columbia. Ojo called for the penalty. So it'll be a free kick coming now near the left side of the field for the Seawolves. The clock continues to wind down. We're approaching the halfway point of the second half. Carrie Pearson will be responsible where it says 30 on the field. From the left side, she'll work on a long free kick. Going right to the net. One of the Seawolves was tripped. That was Francis. And they call it. Well, actually, it looks like whatever it was, they're going back over to Columbia now. May have been an incidental one that eventually didn't result in any call, and the ball did eventually go out of bounds. So fortunate for the Lions. Otherwise, that could have been a potential scoring opportunity for the Seawolves again. So Byrne with the ball. She'll get it right to her right for Ojo. Ojo kicking it right to the middle. Von Paul nearly swooped in and goes right to Daniels. Daniels trying to find Francis. The Lions and the Seawolves continuing to fight for it right along midfield. Goes right to Cavalier. Cavalier to Prusek. To her right. Nobody was there, but eventually one of the Lions will get there. Cavalier again. Tried to get to the net, but Morgan Elliott defends it away. Carrie Pearson. Pearson trying to keep a handle on it. She fell down, and she was forced to fall down. And another Columbia foul. 12-11 is what it looks like in fouls right now. Columbia has one more than Stony Brook. 7 total corner kicks between both teams so far. Stony Brook has 4. Columbia has 3. Despite Columbia outshooting Stony Brook, it has not helped them yet get past Richmond Burke. They've had some opportunities, but neither of their playmakers like Allie Clark and Nana Ramirez has been able to find an answer. So as it goes out of bounds again, Seawolves will have it. The inbound right in Columbia territory. Daniels trying to field it. She'll get it to her left to DuPont. DuPont trying to use a little feet. Kept in bounds by one of the Lions, getting back possession of it. And to fight for the ball, it'll stay in bounds. Prusek trying to work it quickly from the right. Don't know if she'll try and find anybody, but it's poked away. Morgan Elliott kicking it away, staying in bounds. That's what it will be. And Sovakova nearly was able to keep it there. And it goes out of bounds again off of Elliott. So McCall will go for the long throw. Looking for the inbound. Nearly thrown away by Daniels. Number 25. Kicking it away was one of the Seawolves again to keep it away from the penalty box. So you get Vondragolski, who couldn't field it cleanly, but Pinney couldn't find an answer against one of the Seawolves. So back to Vondragolski. Kicking it to the right. Looks like it's about to go to Gordon. Gordon. She'll kick it over to her left for Pila. Pila on the left side of the field. And when she fell down, Vondragolski looked like she was called for the foul. Actually, no. That wasn't a foul. It's incidental contact, and it leads to an inbound play upcoming. An inbound throw. 22nd minute here. We are approaching the halfway point of the second half. We'll see if Columbia tries to do anything they can. Meanwhile, Alyssa Francis is working with rhythm. She has good angle. It looks like we're seeing 2-on-2 here. Ojo trying to cross her. She almost does eventually, and then it gets right away from Francis. Right into Stony Brook territory. Back over to Columbia territory after a good kick. Kicked away right in here to the left side. It's Claire Pinney now field it. About to get double teamed. She kicks it away over to Heron. She finds one of her teammates. She'll find Slatchin. She'll kick it right back into Stony Brook territory. Doris Pia. But Emma Beatty trying to get there. She cannot. Right near Prusek, where it goes right to Morgan Elliott. He almost thought about going to Richmond Burke, but she'll keep it himself while they still work in from their own territory. Emma Beatty trying to get past the double team, and she'll just have it kicked out of bounds and off of one of the Lions. And here comes another substitution. Kat Jordan checking in for Francis.
For number 11, Alyssa Francis.
Tatum Kaka, that's who it is. Senior, coming in for Francis. Kaka's from Hawaii as well. She had a goal in the 88th minute against Vermont back in the America East semifinals back in the spring. All part of the 3 straight goals that the Seawolves got to defeat the Catamounts in the semifinals and eventually defeat Binghamton in the America East Championship. So on the inbound now, goes right near Kaka. It goes all off of her out of bounds. Columbia with it. Just less than 22 minutes to go before the end of regulation. Columbia trying to find a way to get a goal. After going blitzy with 3 goals on Friday against St. John's, none so far today. Kaka couldn't get the angle to Von Dragulski. It goes off of her and out of bounds. But we'll allow the rest of the Seawolves to regroup as well right near the ball. Try and keep it in Columbia's zone as long as they can. Because this isn't about milking the clock yet. This is about trying to extend their lead as much as they can. Because that will start to put a little more undue pressure on Columbia if they can. So now another inbound for Stony Brook after the ball went off of one of the Lions. Slatchin trying to keep it, and she's able to get it out of bounds before it goes the left side of the right corner. She'll go on the right side of the right corner. It'll be an inbound. Very close call right there. You'd rather it be inbound throw than a corner kick, because a corner kick could give you more of an opportunity to get a goal than an inbound throw. Speaking of the inbound throw, here it is, right to Renee Ward, and it goes right over to Byrne. Easily able to pick it up. More hard to tell whether or not she went try and find an angle to get a goal herself, but it didn't go where she wanted it to. So Byrne will work for the kick. Getting a good one right into Stony Brook territory, but headed well by Morgan Elliott to Von Dragulski. Going to left to Ward. She's going to get an angle, but it does go right to DuPont. Chelsea DuPont to her right for Daniels. Daniels still getting it back into her own zone, right to Morgan Elliott. Spotting Beatty to her right. She'll kick it right over to Renee Ward and over to Kaka. And it'll go out of bounds off of Columbia. Kaka playing some good offense as well while subbing in for Alyssa Francis. She played 21 games in 2019 and was responsible for being part of the all-rookie team back in 2018. I don't think that this would be a little bit of a concern if you think that Kaka coming in for Francis seems a little far-fetched. As the kick from Morgan Elliott goes out of bounds in Columbia's zone, he'll go stay with the Lions.
Number 20, Allie Clark for number 25, Kayla Lee.
In the 26th minute here of the second half, it's Stony Brook 1, Columbia nothing still. We are engaged in one tight battle, but thanks to Francis's goal, it's put Stony Brook in front as they work still to try and capture their first win of the season. Because they got themselves a tough road game coming up after this, a road trip. First, they play against Providence on September 2nd, then they play against Pac-12 foe Colorado September 5th, and then lastly, September 9th, they play against Fairleigh Dickinson. So Slatchin, after the inbound pass, has it, getting it right to midfield. Gabby Daniels, and she's called for a foul. She may have been called for fielding it a little too much, but she's not really convinced with that call. Nevertheless, it stays with Columbia. And right in midfield, Slatchin from the left side will work on a free kick. Columbia needs to think of an answer offensively soon, because they have not really found anything to try and get. After 3 goals on Friday, none so far today. It's all Stony Brook trying to do a better job defensively than they have been doing that so far in their last 2 games, after giving them 5 to their Long Island rival in Hofstra. And the free kick goes right to Emma Beatty, and then the penalty area, and there's no foul called after Beatty fell down. So Von Pout will just kick it out of bounds away from Ramirez. We approach the 18-minute mark. 18 minutes left to go now in the second half. McCaw will inbound it right near the right side of the top of the net. McCaw trying to go for a long one, and it goes right into the hands of Richmond Burke, making the save. And really, Emerson Richmond Burke has been getting a lot of good action with her defense today, making as much saves as she can. You can mark that down as her 5th one of the game. Why don't you call her the America East goalie of the week? Because she has proven that to be quite well. Has not allowed a goal to any one of her 2 opponents so far. If she should hold on today, give her that award. Kaka in Columbia zone, kicking it far to the right, intercepted by Ojo. It goes right over to Von Dragulski. Dragulski trying to field it. Couldn't get as much of a field as she wanted, but it goes right over to Von Palt. She tried to field it well, and it does stay with the Seawolves. But a quick inbound goes right to Kaka. Actually, Renee Ward back to Von Palt. Von Palt near the left corner, trying to kick it right near the net inside the penalty area. And so with that, it'll go out of bounds off of one of the Lions again. So Stony Brook trying to work with a little more time in the Columbia zone here. Could give them a little bit of a good push to try and win this game. The more they play in their opponent's zone, the less that their opponent will play offensively. The inbound from Von Palt to Renee Ward, but Silvakova was just a little too late to respond to try and get her field of her own. So we'll go back to Columbia.
Checking in for Columbia, number 23, Riley Hanna. For number 22, Manny McCall.
So Riley Hanna checking in for Manny McCall. Hanna starting to get her first few minutes of action here in this game against Stony Brook. Daniels on the inbound, getting the inbound pass right to Renee Ward. And Kaka trying to push it inside, forcing Ojo to try and defend it. They'll go right over to Pila. Along the left side, she has it. She's trying to kick into Stony Brook zone. She'll have a lot of room to do that. She's got a quick over there, but it's intercepted well by Carrie Pearson. Then back to Pila. They fielded away by Pearson. And a whistle, foul called on Maddie. And she's not really happy. It looks like she was calling out one of her teammates, and not in the way that you would expect it to. It's chemistry, but right there may have been a little bit of a pull. So Morgan Elliott with a free kick coming up. Actually be Pearson. Pearson doing some free kicks. Maddie Pila tried to kick it, didn't get a good angle on it. Goes right to Von Dragulski. Up her against Sam Gordon. Going right over to Slatchin. Slatchin looks like that ball will just go out of bounds on the left side and stays with Stony Brook in the Columbia zone. 15 minutes left to go. Stony Brook still up 1-0 off the Alyssa Francisco in the 2nd minute of the second half. Zach Wilson giving you Stony Brook women's soccer action live on 90.1 FM WSB Stony Brook. Longtime home for Seawolves Athletics. As the inbound off of the Seawolves going out of bounds on the right side of the net. Goal kick up coming for Audrey Byrne. Despite that, Alyssa Francisco, she's had 2 saves so far today. Emerson Richmond Burke is still credited with 4 saves after that last pickup she had. Didn't really count as a shot on goal. Meanwhile, you get Aneta Silvakova fielding the ball well against Riley Hanna. And she tried to get the cock up, but it'll go over to Slatchin. It looked like I almost put a little pressure on Columbia, nearly forced them to make a mistake. So Slatchin having the ball on the left side against Kaka. Kaka nearly tried to swoop in and goes right to one of the Seawolves. Goes right to Renee Ward. Ward fielding the ball well. Goes over to Kaka. Kaka trying to push it inside. She may have pushed one of the lines, but no foul was called. Renee Ward almost thought about a long shot and goal, but she'll get it over to the right to Von Dragulski. Von Dragulski, she'll just go for a long kick over to Byrne, and she'll pick it up with no problem. It looks like Columbia can take a little bit of a sigh of relief because the Seawolves did seem a little threatening offensively on that possession. Byrne will go for the long kick. Right into Stony Brook territory, headed by Daniels. Von Palt against Pila, both 4 teams playing in action. It goes right over to Pila now. Pila pushing it inside, trying to get it over to number 26, and couldn't get a kick right before it goes right into the hands of Richmond Burke. Another nick of time play. Richmond Burke has been able to step up to the challenge all day today, and be able to play as much as she can. Trying to make it back-to-back shutouts in some sense. You could pretty much call it a clean sheet, if anything. So Gabby Daniels kicking into the Stony Columbia zone, goes off of one of the Lions. That looked like Slatchin. So it'll be Von Palt. Von Porat, actually. Von Porat will get the inbound off the head of Renee Ward. Good head from her. Goes right to Kaka, then back to Ward. Ward spotting Von Dragulski. But Ward still keeping it after she has been defended well. Goes back to Carrie Pearson at midfield. Going back into the Columbia zone. It goes right over to the Lions. Spotting the ball well today in most senses. Carrie Pearson. It goes right back over to Diaz Silveria. And then DuPont able to kick it long back into Columbia zone. Tatum Kaka trying to get there, but Slatchin just heads it out of bounds. It's been getting pretty problematic for the Lions. Looking strong with their 3 goals on Friday against St. John's. So far reduced to nothing. This could be an impressive shutout win for Stony Brook, trying to get their first win since the beginning of this century against the Lions. Their first one in almost 20 years. Meanwhile, the kick from Stony Brook goes right over to Byrne. And she'll just lay it down over to Ojo. She'll try to make her move and kick it well, but it's intercepted by Von Porat. Goes right back to Ojo. Ojo will resume where she left off. And almost intercepted by Renee Ward. She'll kick it right over to Prusek. And then goes right over to Morgan Elliott, diving down to make it. And a whistle with a penalty called against Columbia. So Carrie Pearson will prepare herself for the free kick once more. It'll just be a little further closer towards the penalty box of their own zone. 11.5 minutes left to go. Stony Brook up 1-0. She'll kick it hard into Columbia's zone. Good kick, good header by Sovakova. And then Byrne will call for the cleanup. Getting some good fan attendance here. Like seeing these women's soccer fans show loyalty, especially since this is back-to-back America East champions that Stony Brook is. Maddie Pila kicking it back into Stony Brook territory, getting it over to Diaz Silveria. Ramirez going over to her left, a little far away from Diaz Silveria, close to being out of bounds, and another whistle called. It looks like we got ourselves offsides. Game may be starting to go down to the wire here, and we'll see whether or not there will be any last-ditch efforts that Columbia will eventually start to make. Despite this still being a 1-goal game, which is how the last 2 wins for Stony Brook have gotten them where they wanted to go. The only 2 wins against Columbia all time in D1, they have been 1-goal wins. If this is what it looks like again today, that may be the 3rd time. Meanwhile, Columbia has it, trying to get it out of their own zone. Along the right side, you see Riley Hanna. Hanna trying to get it backwards over to Clark. She had a good look, but there was no line behind her. Meanwhile, Pia against Von Porat. Both 14s trying to win it. Who wins that one as it goes out of bounds? That was Pia.
Re-entering the game for the Seawolves, number 11, Alyssa Francis.
So, Francis coming back in for Kaka. We'll see whether or not that try improves the offense to try and put a little more pressure on Columbia defensively. It could cause a little bit of an imbalance for Columbia on both sides. You know, the inbound going right over to Allie Clark and going right over to Richmond Burke before Ojo had a chance to try and get a kick of her own. Looked like that was actually Kayla Lee. Or rather, not Natalie Ramirez. Richmond Burke with the kick right near midfield. And falling down the pond, Prusek initiating the contact. Sideline of Columbia, and they ain't happy. And another foul on the Lions. Also for the substitution before, Manny McCall checked back in for Riley Hanna. Less than 9 minutes left to go before regulation is over. Stony Brook still maintaining their 1-0 lead, and they have Alyssa Francis to thank for that. Checks back into the game, seeing that she can make another impact offensively. One more goal could start to look like the end of this game. On the free kick, right to DuPont. DuPont getting over to her left for Francis, but it's intercepted by Slatchin. Slatchin kicking it away. Goes right to Carrie Pearson. Then goes right over to Pila. Then back over to Ramirez. Ramirez tried to save it out of bounds. It looked like it should have been out of bounds. But Allie Clark trying to kick it away. And it may have been kicked again, but it won't go out of bounds. Almost close to a potential corner kick for the Lions. That ball looked like it went out of bounds. And then Ramirez, we have a whistle. And looks like the ball off of Ramirez, off of her hand, actually. So it looks like it'll be a handball. And from right here to Stony Brook net. Another very close call, but it looked like that was Gabby Daniels that was responsible for being able to prevent the equalizer for Columbia. So the long kick from Pearson going right into the Columbia zone. DuPont trying to field it, can't get it past Prusek. She'll kick it away back into Stony Brook territory. Beatty getting a good head start on the head ball. Goes right back over to Prusek against DuPont. Going towards the right side of the field. Prusek trying to work with it. Columbia starting to run out of time, and Sovakova is able to intercept that ball. Trying to find an angle to Francis. She will. Francis trying to keep the ball in play. Right over to DuPont. DuPont getting it over to Sovakova. Sovakova to her right to Von Dragowski, just a little far away. Sam Gordon will kick it back over to her goalie, Byrne. And Francis nearly swooped in right near Slatchin. Francis had been able to get there before Slatchin did. Could have been another goal. And swooping in was Von Port on the play right here. So Beatty has it in Columbia's zone. Stony Brook still maintaining their lead up 1-0. Renee Ward in the middle of the field. Trying to kick it to the right to Francis. Francis over to Ward. Ward spotting over Sovakova to her right. She'll kick it cross field over to her left. And it goes right over to Byrne. She's able to read that bounce perfectly. And she'll keep it away. And she'll keep the ball away from the net. Prusek will get it over now to Silveria. Ramirez. But intercepted now, Gabby Daniels, able to kick it over to Sovakova. Sovakova, she saw Francis to her left, but she'll go to the right instead for Ward. Let's see if she can face Columbia's defensive wall, but she'll just slow it down, trying to get a little more of the quality in. Or actually quantity, you may as well say it. Sovakova, nearly ball went out of bounds, but saved by McCaw to keep it in Columbia possession. Renee Ward, she gets over to Ramirez, and the ball goes out of bounds. Off of the Lions. Well, 5:40 left to go in the second half. Stony Brook still up 1-0. Looking to try and make themselves 1-1-1. While trying to make Columbia 0-2-1. Next home game for Stony Brook. They'll be facing off against St. Joseph September 12th at 1 p.m. We'll let you know whether or not we'll be on for that game. Von Poret will work on the long inbound throw over to Renee Ward. Goes over her head and right over to Heron. Grace Heron will kick it right near midfield. Morgan Elliott trying to field it with her head against Maddie Pila. Pila with the possession. She'll get it over to the right for Ramirez, but it goes out of bounds, kicked away by Carrie Pearson. Smart move from her to have Stony Brook recapitalize defensively. So McCaw, she'll get ready for the inbound throw. It's time 20 now. We're now at the 5-minute mark. Desperation's starting to look like the likeliest culprit now for the Lions. So here we have Diaz Silveria kicking it back over to Slatchin at midfield. Slatchin kicking it far to the left, fighting back Diaz Silveria against Von Dragowski. Looks like Von Dragowski was able to kick it out of bounds along the left side, on the left sideline, right before the corner. And it goes, looks like trying to fight for it. Who's going to get it? Looks like it'll be Lions. But then right over to DuPont and to Francis. Francis fell down against Ojo. No foul was called. Looks like contact right there. And Maddie Pila trying to kick it inside, but just far away from Allie Clark, and Richmond Burke able to pick it up. It looked like there should have been a foul against the Lions right there, but luckily enough for Stony Brook, they wouldn't let that mistake doom them. Because Richmond Burke able to see the ball very clearly. Spiraling kick right at midfield. Sovakova will get there for it. And she'll just kick it out of bounds. It's still in play. Almost went out, but spiraling at the last second. Alyssa Francis along the left corner now, deep in Columbia's zone. And then Ojo almost kept it out of bounds, but it goes right back to Sovakova. Sovakova, she'll just kick it out of bounds along the left side of the net. It'll be a goal kick for Byrne. I think there could have been a good opportunity for Stony Brook to try and work something offensively, because I don't think most of them were expecting to see that ball that looked like at 1 second was about to head out of bounds, then spiraling to stay in bounds at the last second. Well, of course, Francis saw that, but had she had more help, could have been another opportunity for them to get any shots. So meanwhile, DuPont getting it back over to Von Dragowski. Columbia trying to force it out. Keep it. That's Diaz Silveria. falling down the last second, then goes right to an open space for Carrie Pearson to kick it, to play with it into Columbia's zone. Sobakova is open to her left, goes right to her, but that is far away and about to go out of bounds. And it will be a goal kick. At the last second, that could have been a little more favorable for Stony Brook. It was on the left side, the left corner. Actually, it looks like it was at the last second. So now back with the ball is Stony Brook. Von Dragalski trying to stick with it near the net, right near the penalty area. Sees Sobakova. They're now inside. She's trying to kick it. She can't get there. And we have ball going out of bounds off of Columbia, and Stony Brook getting their corner kick again. Looks like there was a little action now. I don't think Columbia could have afforded it right there. The clock continues to burn with every passing second as we're now at the 2-minute mark. Renee Ward in the left corner. Let's see if you can try and help the Seawolves with the punchline for this game. Well, they may not do it, actually. DuPont will get it from her at the left corner, trying to slow down as much time as they can with the ball going off of DuPont and going back to Columbia. So they're going to have to work with something very quickly here. But all the players are still on the Columbia side. They're trying to be kicked out of bounds. It eventually will. Von Poor will just let it be after it was last touched by Ramirez. Ramirez with some feisty action so far today as well. One shot on goal, but Richmond Burke able to save it. Francis will kick it to her left over to Ward before it goes out of bounds. Going to Von Dragalski. She got double teamed. And Columbia stealing it away, but Von Dragalski falling down. She got hit. And there comes the whistle. But this time, the refs see Columbia as the culprit for initiating the foul.
1 minute remains in the second half.
And we're just about less than 60 seconds away. Stony Brook, this rate, should they be able to hold on, are about to move to 1-1-1, getting their first win of the fall 2021 season. And we're saying fall 2021 because they had a shortened spring season just months ago. All about being able to milk the clock now, as it would look like. That ball went out. Ball looked like on our end went out of bounds, but and Columbia does still have it. Now, actually, it is a late call that will allow Stony Brook to do the long inbound pass from the left near the left corner. Renee Ward over Francis and right to Sobakova. Sobakova on the left corner getting double teamed. We'll just kick it out of bounds. Milking more clock, 20 seconds left to go. First two games for Stony Brook, a loss to Hofstra. It was a hard one at that, and a scoreless draw against the LIU Sharks. It's another whistle called on, that was on Alyssa Francis. Kicked by the Lions, trying some desperation. Daniels headbutting it, and it looks like that's going to do it. And for the first time this season, Stony Brook gets their win of the fall 2021. And for the first time since 2001, Stony Brook is victorious against the Columbia Lions. Alyssa Francis being able to make that go-ahead goal in the second minute of action in the second half. Being able to work with it very mightily off the assist from Chelsea DuPont. And that's exactly what you would like to see from this team. An assist from Chelsea DuPont leading to a goal for Alyssa Francis. It's quite an undefinable combination to watch for if you're Stony Brook. Quite the combination that they'll be relying on a lot as well this season. So, 6 shots for Stony Brook today, 8 for Columbia. Both teams with 4 shots on goal. The only difference is 1 of the 4 shots for Stony Brook went in, while none of them could have gotten past Emerson Richmond Burke and her Fortress that was able to make 4 saves. 2 assists for Stony Brook actually today. Other than Chelsea DuPont, it was also Carrie Pearson that was able to provide one of the 2 assists for the Alyssa Francis goal. Stony Brook had 5 corner kicks, Columbia with 3. Neither team had a red card nor yellow card at that. And the foul, Stony Brook made sure that it was more on Columbia, 17-11. And the 4 saves that Stony Brook had compared to the 3 shows that Stony Brook really was trying to chase that. And of course, offense still looks like something that may need to be worked on, but what matters just as much is defense. And over these last 2 games, no goals allowed by Richmond Burke. And she has been giving herself quite a good junior year so far, other than that lone other than that loss to the Hofstra Pride. So, with that, Stony Brook now moves to 1-1-1 on the year. Columbia falls to 0-1-1. Stony Brook playing their next game, part of a 3-game road trip against the Providence Friars at 4 p.m. on Thursday. While for Columbia, they'll still chase their first win of the season. It won't be easy, as they'll also have to face off against the Hofstra Pride, but they will have home field advantage this time. We'll see whether or not it helps them. They will host the Pride Thursday at 7 p.m. Tobias Bishop getting his 21st career win as head coach for the Seawolves in his 3rd year, assisted along with Jim O'Brien and Shannon Grogan. Stony Brook looking to see whether or not Emerson Richmond Burke may get that America East Goalie of the Week award after she did not allow a single goal in these last 2 games in this past week. But with this 3-game road trip coming up, we'll see whether or not Stony Brook can gain the experience they need once conference play begins September 19th. Their next home game will be here September 12th against the St. Joseph's Hawks. But our next game here on WUSB will be tomorrow at 6 p.m. when the men's soccer team plays their 2nd home game of the season, facing off against their Long Island rival in the Hofstra Pride. Tonight we have the sports section. We shall recap this past week, looking successful for Stony Brook, looking hard for the volleyball team, and previewing our first football game of the season for Stony Brook. So, time to sign off. Thank you very much for tuning in to Stony Brook Women's Soccer live on 90.1 FM, WSB Stony Brook, the longtime home for Seawolves Athletics. Once again, your final score, Stony Brook 1, Columbia 0. Alyssa Francis with the lone goal of the game off the assist from Chelsea DePunt and Carrie Pearson. I'm Zach Wilson saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and be sure to tune in 7 hours when the sports section will be on. But until then, have a good day, ladies and gentlemen.